Imagine you're alone in your room at night. The lights are off. Everything is quiet. You know there is nothing dangerous around you. But then suddenly, you hear a small sound. Maybe it's a door creaking. Maybe it's something falling in another room. Or maybe, you don't even know what made the sound. Your heart starts beating faster. You look toward the darkness. And suddenly, your imagination begins creating possibilities. Was someone there? Did something move? What if something is hiding in the dark? But why does darkness make us afraid? After all, darkness itself cannot hurt us. The answer goes back hundreds of thousands of years, to the time when our ancestors lived in the wild. For early humans, nighttime was a completely different world. During the day, humans could see their surroundings clearly. They could spot predators. They could recognize other people. They could find food and avoid dangerous places. But when the sun disappeared, their biggest advantage disappeared with it. Their ability to see. And that was a serious problem. Imagine being an early human sleeping near a forest. You hear branches moving nearby. You cannot see what is making the sound. Is it the wind? A harmless animal? Or a predator? You have no way to know. And when you cannot see a potential threat, the safest response is to become alert. This is where fear becomes useful. Our brains evolved to protect us from danger. The human brain is constantly asking one important question. Am I safe? When the environment becomes dark, the brain receives much less visual information. And when information is missing, the brain often tries to fill in the gaps. That's why a pile of clothes in a dark room can suddenly look like a person. A tree outside your window can look like a strange creature. And a harmless noise can sound much more frightening at night. Your brain isn't necessarily trying to scare you. It's trying to protect you. Think about what happens when you walk into a completely dark room. You cannot see the floor. You don't know where the furniture is. You don't know what's directly in front of you. So you slow down. You become more careful. Your attention increases. This reaction is part of the body's natural threat detection system. And there's another reason darkness can feel frightening. Uncertainty. Humans generally dislike situations where they don't know what is happening. In bright daylight, you can quickly understand your environment. But in darkness, many questions remain unanswered. What made that noise? What's behind that door? Is something moving over there? When your brain doesn't have enough information, it may choose the safest assumption. And from an evolutionary perspective, that makes sense. Imagine two ancient humans hearing a strange noise at night. One thinks, it's probably nothing. The other thinks, it might be a predator. If there really is a predator, the cautious person has a better chance of surviving. If there isn't one, the cautious person simply experiences a little unnecessary fear. Over thousands of generations, being slightly too cautious could be much safer than being careless. This is sometimes described as our brain having a tendency toward false alarms. It's similar to a smoke alarm. A smoke alarm might sometimes react to burnt toast. But you'd rather have a few false alarms than have it stay silent during a real fire. Our fear system can work in a similar way. It's better for the brain to occasionally mistake a shadow for a threat than to completely ignore a real threat. But darkness doesn't only affect our vision. It can also change how we interpret sounds. When you can't see where a sound is coming from, your brain has less information to identify it. A small noise can therefore seem much more mysterious. And mystery can increase fear. This is why horror movies often use darkness. Think about it. A monster standing in a bright room isn't always very scary. But if you can hear something moving somewhere in a completely dark hallway, your imagination does most of the work. You don't need to see the monster. Your brain creates one. And sometimes, what your imagination creates is much scarier than reality. Darkness can also make us feel vulnerable. When we cannot see our surroundings, we don't feel completely in control. We can't easily identify escape routes. We can't quickly inspect suspicious movements. And we can't confidently predict what might happen next. This loss of control can activate our body's stress response. The heart beats faster. Breathing may change. Muscles become tense. Attention becomes focused. You might even feel goosebumps. Your body is preparing for the possibility of danger. But here's something interesting. Not everyone is equally afraid of the dark. Some people feel completely comfortable sleeping in a dark room. Others need a night light. Some people enjoy exploring dark places. Others become extremely uncomfortable. Why? Our experiences, age, imagination, and environment can all influence how we react to darkness. Children, for example, may have especially powerful imaginations. They may understand that a monster probably isn't under the bed, but the brain can still create the feeling that something might be there. As we grow older, we usually become better at understanding what is actually dangerous and what isn't. But the basic fear response never completely disappears. That's because the system protecting us from danger is much older than modern civilization. Our ancestors didn't have electric lights. They couldn't simply flip a switch when the sun went down. They had to live with darkness every single night. Fire became incredibly important because it provided light, warmth, and protection. Later, humans created lamps and candles. Eventually came gas lighting, electricity, streetlights, flashlights, and smartphones. Modern technology has dramatically reduced the dangers associated with darkness. But our brains still carry many of the instincts developed by our ancestors. That's why you can know logically that you're safe, and still feel nervous when walking through a dark room. Your logical mind might say, "There's nothing here," but another part of your brain is saying, "We can't see what's here." And that difference is important. Fear doesn't always require actual danger. Sometimes, it only requires the possibility of danger. So the next time you're sitting alone in the dark and suddenly feel uncomfortable, remember, you're not necessarily being irrational. You're experiencing an ancient survival system. A system designed to keep humans alive when visibility was limited and predators could be hiding nearby. The darkness itself isn't the enemy. It's the uncertainty inside it. Because when humans cannot see what is around them, the brain doesn't simply see nothing. It asks questions, and sometimes it creates answers. That's why a dark room can feel completely different from the same room during the day. The furniture hasn't changed. The walls haven't moved. Nothing may actually be there. Only one thing has changed: your ability to see. And when our eyes can't tell us what's happening, our brain takes over. Sometimes it protects us. Sometimes it warns us. And sometimes it scares us with things that were never there in the first place.